How is everybody doing today? And in this video, we are going to talk about our next banner that is going to be coming for Heaven Burns Red. And realistically, there's a little bit easier choice when it comes to looking at what banners we have currently and the banner that is coming up very soon, which of course many of you should know is the Megumi and Satomi banner. And realistically, we're gonna speed through the banners that we currently have right now on EN, and then we're going to talk about the banner specifically, which is Megumi and Satomi. Now realistically, if you haven't already summoned on Yuina, it's basically by that time that everyone should have already pulled who they wanted to pull, because we didn't know that Megumi was coming yet as of late. But Yuina, really strong dark AoE damage dealer. She is crazy for what she's able to do, and realistically I'm going to be telling you what these characters are great for, if they're even worth it, and then we're going to speed run our way to Megumi. And then I just want to say a general game plan when it comes to pulling these characters, because I know with all of these releases it can be a little hard because of A, meta things, and B, looking at what characters you really like, because that's the main thing about this game, right? A lot of us are looking at these characters and like, oh, I really love Yuina, I really love Ruka, I really like Tojo, I really like all these characters, and we want to pull these guys. So I understand even if the meta isn't realistically what you're looking for, a lot of these characters coming out at the same time, it really hurts the wallet or the gems that we have currently. But let's go ahead and start talking about all these characters really quickly, and then let's start putting in our focus with our next banner we should be expecting, which is going to be on Friday if I'm not wrong, which is Megumi, which I'm not ready. I can just tell y'all that right now, I'm not ready, so it's okay if you're not ready to. But Yuina, really strong dark AoE damage dealer. Realistically, if you want to build a dark team, Yuina is realistically just going to be the best character for that at a basic level. Of course, there are going to be stronger dark damage dealers in the future, but this Yuina will be strong without a doubt no matter what, even up until current day JP, which of course we're getting fast tracked our way towards. Besides that, the Tama in this banner right now isn't as high of an importance, although a really good healer. If she's your first healer, that's a good thing. If you have Mua right now, or you have Aoi, there's kind of no real reason to use this Tama, just because Mua is giving you a buff that's going to be a weakness reliant on, and when Tama exists, she's giving you the free skill points on light units, but realistically doesn't really help other teams but light. And if you did have a healer on light team, you're going to be using Mua if you have Mua, because that helps out the attacker with the weaknesses. So realistically, Tama doesn't really have a really good spot when it comes to her value as a character. While a character like Tojo Karen, these characters 100% are very strong, especially if you are working towards a light specific team for your account. So you have light characters like how we have our Ruka. Ruka is really great as a light character. We also have SS1 Yuina. This character is absolutely amazing as well when it comes to a single target character, and Ruka being a AoE targeted character. And then of course Tojo Karen. Tojo is the best light buffer in the game at the current moment for being a fielder, because she's able to give elemental enhance, she's able to give a stronger field, something similar to what we're going to talk about with Megumi. And then of course the field is only 8 turns, but realistically if you're popping down a field which is going to be giving you crit and crit rate, you're also going to be buffing out with that light attack up as well. You're going to be using Tojo quite a bit, so they're going to be able to withstand the amount of turns, which is that full 8 that you have for that field before it expires, unlike the weaker fields that have the infinite duration. And then besides these two characters, we also have the Karen as well, who's going to be a really great light attacker if you don't have one already. So you can kind of pick up a full light team in a way if you do pull both of these characters. Now, if you're not looking towards light, if you don't necessarily like Karen, if you don't want to build a light team, then this banner specifically is a really easy to skip banner realistically. It just has a lot of value because it has the best buffer at the current moment for light, and then it has the Karen as well, which is going to be a really good substitute for a DPS plus a overall really good devastation unit if you do end up pulling them. Now to get into the main banners, which of course, looking at all the different characters that are coming out, we got Yuina, which is great for dark, we got Tojo, which is really great for light, plus Karen. You also have Megumi, who's coming out for fire. Realistically, when you look at these characters, besides of course which ones are your favorite, the only thing you should be looking at realistically is what do you have currently in your box. That's the main thing I stress about every single time I make these videos. What do you have currently in your box? When you look at your box and you look at, let's say, maybe your attackers. I can't even confirm this because I don't have my controller on. I think I do actually, and I haven't used the controller in forever, so I'm gonna try to make this easy for myself. But when you look at all of these characters that you may have, and you start looking at, maybe I do have the Karin, or maybe I have the maid Aoi that everyone was saying to get. Maybe I even have Kanzaki, who is a really good ice character. Or I have a bunch of fire characters. Let's say I have Yotsuha, I got the fire Ruka, all of these other characters that are in a specific element. You want to look at what your strongest element is and probably build towards that. Now, this could go in a couple of different ways. Maybe you don't like the character that you have the elements for. That's understandable. A better version of that character may come out, or a better character that you may like may be of that element in the future. But the main thing is you want to look at what specific characters you have, what buffers you have, and then build towards that. Realistically, the way I see it is whatever fielders you may have might be more incentivized for you to go for when it comes to the characters you're going to be building, or the general pull path you're going to be looking for. Like if I have the Tojo who has the regular fire field, I might be more inclined to build fire characters because I do have that specific piece of the puzzle when it comes to their team. Because usually you would pull something like Yinksha, and then you will look at something like Saika SS2. These are your general buffers. They're going to give you the hit count, the crit rate, crit damage. All you need now is an elemental enhance, or maybe even a field. So looking at someone like Tojo, well, now I might want to build towards fire because of that. Or maybe you have Mari SS1. This is the ice field. Maybe you want to build towards ice now and pull the Kanzaki that was here a while ago. If you have Iroha, maybe that's a pretty good sign for you to pull Yuina, because now you have the dark fielder plus the main really good dark damage dealer. And then of course the cycle continues. If you have the fielder for it, like let's say Saika SS1, and you want to build towards Thunder, she has that Thunder field. So it is a pretty good way to start looking at your box and start wondering which character specifically you want to pull for. Now of course, looking at Megumi and of course Kura or Satomi, the only character that really matters is going to be the Megumi metas-wise, of course, because this character is going to be in the same vein or fashion as the Tojo, with giving the strongest zone available, which is the 8-turn zone, giving you 65% extra damage dealt with your fire attacks. So if you have some of these characters that may be in your box, like having, let's say, I'm trying to talk about these characters in order and I put them all in the wrong order. But if you have someone like the Fire Ruka, or you have the Minori as well, this is definitely a good start to pulling characters within that element. So if you were to pull, let's say Megumi, you get the fire zone, you get the fire defense down for 2 turns on a single target enemy. Then you have, of course, your Ruka, you have Minori. These are fire attackers. They're going to benefit greatly from having a fire defense down. Let's say another defense down, fragile, and there's just so many things you can pile up on top of the enemy that allow them to take so much more damage. This also includes if you ended up pulling Yotsuha, who is by far one of the strongest fire buffers in the game without a doubt, and basically one of the strongest buffers ever for an element because of all that you can give. You have the fire attack up, crit rate attack up, and also the crit damage up as well. This allows you to stack up not only the regular attacks, but also the regular crit rate and crit damage. So you have an infinite amount of buffs you can put onto an ally, which is gonna make you hit insanely strong. Now when it comes to fire as a whole, as an element, fire realistically is by far one of the strongest because of Yotsuha, realistically, because she's able to give you all of these buffs plus whatever else is going to be available, like Saika and also Yinksha as well. So if you have any of these characters, when it comes to Minori, when it comes to Ruka, when it comes to Yotsuha, and even more so if you are excited for the Angel Beats characters, we're getting a, hopefully, because we have no idea how the celebration is going to work, but we hopefully are going to be getting a free copy of this Yuri, who is going to be a fire blaster. But as you may know from a lot of these characters like Kanzaki, like Karin, they're labeled blasters, but they can do damage. And realistically, this Yuri is one of those characters. You can use her as a fire damage dealer, and I'm basically waiting for that because I have no fire attackers. I wish I did, to be able to use my Yotsuha on, which I'm really waiting to do so. So realistically, you are gonna pull for the Angel Beats characters and you are excited to use Yuri, then maybe this Megumi is a really good pickup for you. Realistically, you want to pull towards the elements your box has or build towards your favorite character. And if you have a character that you really like that's fire, if you see in the future with the banner lineups, and of course I will talk about it as time goes by, and you see that there's a fire unit that you may like the Unison Ruka, who has Yuki and Ruka in the same unit, that's fire, this Megumi is going to help them out. If you have anyone like the Ruka, or have anyone like the Minori, or anyone that's a fire attacker in your box, or more fire oriented, this Megumi will help you out a lot. You just really want to look at which elements you're looking at when it comes to the content that we're going to be doing in Heaven Burns Red, because realistically, there aren't a lot of situations where more than 2 elements or more than 2 teams will be resisted at the same time. It's very unlikely, could potentially happen, but very unlikely. So building, let's say, building a Thunder and building a fire team, you should be a-okay. Once you start building towards those 2 teams, you should be okay to cover most of the content that you're looking at in this game. Of course, there are going to be some use cases where, of course, a team of Yuina and her supports are going to be a little bit stronger in her score battle because of course it is targeted towards her. So realistically, you want to look towards your box. You want to see which characters you have that are going to connect with these fellow banners that we have with, of course, Yuina, with having Tojo and Karin, and then same thing goes with this Megumi. This Megumi will be very, very strong for those with a fire-oriented box or for those that are interested in making a fire team. But realistically, other than that, she's able to give these 2 turns single target fire defense down, the stronger zone, and not only that, she also gives a fire attack up as well for the whole party, which is a really nice thing. So other than that, that's pretty much it when it comes to a video about Megumi. And realistically, looking at Kura, if you just want me to breeze through this really quickly, she really doesn't have a lot towards her besides being a dark blaster. So if you have a dark team like having the Yuina, or maybe you have someone else like the Chie and you have Iroha as the fielder, Satomi could be really good for devastation wise to be able to build up that destruction meter for score battle or maybe even the Anachronies, and that could definitely help 100%. But in terms of value, in terms of how much you need this unit, unless you're a die-hard dark fan, there's kind of no reason to pull for this unit, and you're basically realistically only going for this Megumi. So other than that, that's pretty much it when it comes to this banner. I will cover whatever else comes out in the future, and of course, thank y'all guys so much for liking the video, subbing, all that different type of stuff. Let me know who are you pulling for. Let me know who are you most excited when it comes to all the future units that may come out, because as we may know, we never know what to expect with this game and which characters come out. So on that, thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the next one, and peace.